Forex factory. Let's see. Let's go. There's 1,000 sites. That's just an easy, popular one that I go to. And looking at the crude oil inventory report, go out there. We came in at negative 1.5, so we actually dropped a little bit. And we can go in and look at the actual crude oil report release. And what we could do is overall, we see the imports and the exports, and I mean they'll give you all sorts of numbers right there. But what we're looking at is this main one where we're going to get this actual of negative 1.9 million. And so we can go down, we can look, and it'll go through. It'll actually read off commercial crude oil inventories decreased by 6.8 million barrels from the previous week at 470 million barrels. U.S. crude oil remain near their levels not seen for this time of year in the last 80 years. So U.S. crude inventories remain near levels not seen for this time of year in the last, in at least the last 80 years. So that's pretty, interesting. That's a massive decrease. So not including the strategic oil reserves, that 6.8 million barrels from the previous week is a big, big, big decrease in the U.S. oil reserves. Yet, let's see here, we go over that big bond movement, but I also wanted to go ahead, now that we're on oil, and pull that up. And yeah, I bet bonds are just skipping all around. Let's see here, let me go back over. And I'm going to grab the oil contract. And I just want to go in and dig down a little bit with you and see sort of how it's moving around on this news, because this is some pretty big drop in supplies. It's actually one of the biggest drops in supplies that we've seen in a long time. And we're just now going into summer, and we're already seeing the drop in supply. So that could definitely be leading to, obviously, higher prices. So. And you can see, I mean, that was one of the biggest, that's a massive move right there that we got. We got a, big move of about 40 cents right off oil inventory, just flying up, coming on back down. And leveling off right now at the 0.5 deviation. But big drop in oil supply, and that trend continues. We keep seeing that it's not picking back up. Then we should continue to see oil to start popping on up and really making a continued rise. That pushed it solid above that 61 level, and sort of drop back down. It wasn't able to hold the 61, but if it keeps going, we're going to see that. And of course, that's going to make gasoline go up, but it's sitting right there up on that. If I go over, I look at maybe a 10-minute chart a little bit here, and we'll look at this for you. I'll make a couple updates on the chart. We just want to sort of get a handle on oil and where it's going and what it's doing. And what we can see is, let's see here. Let's go in and change one more thing. I'm going to change one. Right back. All right, folks, welcome on back here to the Diagnostic Trading Hour. And a little bit of a ticking noise there in the sound, so I'm not quite sure if that's on my side or your side or both. Anyways, I was going into the oil, and I was just saying, hey, the oil is dropping down. It's actually the lowest inventory level we've seen in 80 years. This definitely, I think, is going to be the marker for when oil turns around and actually starts making its move on back up. And I think we're going to see a pretty strong Marv move. Sorry, reading things from other people posting. And again, this is directly from the EIA.gov report about U.S. crude oil inventories moving on up there at levels not seen since the 80s. And if you go on, we're going through it. Total gasoline inventories decreased by 2.9 million barrels, but they're still in the upper half of their average range. Finished gasoline inventories increased, while blending components inventories decreased last week. Distilled fuel inventories increased, and propane inventories rose up along with it. So the oil imports averaged over 6.6 million barrels a day, actually a little bit lower than same day previous week. Over the last 4 weeks, crude oil imports averaged about 70 million barrels per day, 2.3% lower before the same 4 week period last year. So now that could be due to less usage, due to more, cars that are efficient, things like that. Uh, but this one being probably the biggest concern, also what caused the big pop in oil. And if we see this trend continue, where the reserves are really, really, really low, then either they're going to need to open up some more oil wells, which will happen automatically as price goes up. Okay. So price goes up, people make more money on oil, therefore they're willing to uncap those things, put more oil. I mean, once they got them, once oil is going, it's going. But drill more, and invest more into finding more oil out there. And so it's just so low right now. A lot of the companies have decided to back off and do drilling. I know some here in Texas that they have methods that are very accurate at finding, basically very they don't have to dig incredibly deep to find oil, and they can do it really really cheap, and still make a profit even with oil at 40 or 50 bucks. They're still able to be profitable. So those companies are trucking along. The ones that don't know how to do that, they're the ones that back off, and they go for just the deeper oil, stuff like that, and often bigger pockets in that same process. And they're going to back off until cost gets, until payout gets high enough that it makes it worth it. All right, so that gets us caught up on the oil inventory. And we talked about EIA. We talked about ECB raising, limits and everything else. That being good news for the market. And we see oil, like I said, popping up, and moved at 2 deviations yesterday. So sort of like somebody might have had a clue that was happening. What do you think? So got a solid 2 deviation move, like to the tick right there, and then backed off down a little bit, and then bombed back up to 0.7. And like I said, we've broken 60. Like solid broken 60 with some good volume right there, and then we had some decent volume coming on up. And now we're touching on the 61 level. It's backing off a little bit, so moving on up to most likely back up to a solid 70 or 80 at this point. And of course, we'll be breaking levels as we go. If you want to know when, where's it going, when's it getting there, all that fun stuff, back on up and start, putting in your magnets. And if you go back and do the magnets, you have to go further back now because we've been so low for so long. Okay, we've been down in the 50s. So you're going to have to really scroll back there and, get as much data as you can. And in Ninja, what you do is you load data series. You actually have to change this. And you're on minute data, so you can change it to whatever you want to there, but you can go in and change it to like 720. And hit apply, and then you got to let that, it'd take a minute, but pull out as much data as you can. And you just got to get back to where the market was higher than where you currently are. And, we have a couple pockets where we've hit this price and fallen back down off of it. So it's really going to have to bust through that. And that would be one of the first things that you're going to want to go look at is when did it hit this price last? Okay. And what was the volume like? Because it's going to need more volume than that to bust through that level. Okay. And let's see here. We got the, so we'll look at that here in a second. I'm going to let that come on up. And we'll also look at the Dow. We'll look at the euro dollar and walk through a few of these releases that have come out. We got news all cut up, but we're waiting on that one to cover. And then we can talk a little bit more about some spreads here in a second and some iron condors. Okay? So first thing is, we got these levels. Let's go and let's look at some magnets. And, market right here is around 61. Let's back off a little bit. Let's see where we got, what we could define as high magnet levels. And looking at around, potentially 15,000, 14 to 15,000 contracts. We'll go with, right around 15,000. Okay. Or, 14,000. I keep saying 15. So right around, 14,000 contracts or so as being a very defined magnet. All right. And you can see it sort of even respecting these current magnets over here. current magnet pricing levels at this point. This was really the 60, which doesn't surprise you, right? So we're at a big round number at the $60 mark. That's what's happening right here, and so it's hitting 60, and it's just oscillating right off of it. So 60 is obviously going to be a magnet just in and of itself. It's a round number magnet. It's also, we're getting a lot of volume right there. Traders are buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling. Which way is it going to go? Okay. And then finally, it decides it's going to go up. Where is it going to go up to? So that's the next thing we want to figure out is, above that $60 price, we got to scroll back here. Got to see it tried to come up on that 60 and dropped right on back down. But what about over here? We came down and we got a little bit of a spike right there. Not really as much expected volume as normal, and that was on a oil inventory day. So I'm going to be sort of cautious about making that just a hardcore, magnet on that trade. It was a down close bar. That's going to put us down here at 60.55. And again, it was a news report spike. So I'm not going to give that magnet really any credit. Due to that, it didn't go anywhere off of that 60. It just popped up, and actually, if anything, it came right back down to it. And then it busted through a little bit and then chilled out before. What did it do from there? It went on down and just moved on down. So let's see if we can get a magnet price. Okay, here we go. Now we got one right around 14,000. It's actually an up close bar right there. And the high of that also ended up becoming the settlement price. So it was actually a high volume right on the close. And so we'll go ahead and we'll go with the settlement on that one, because again, it's a high volume bar right on the close. There, 230, and that puts us at 61.28. So that's gonna be our next target. Also, drawing that right there, we can see one, like, how is that real? I mean, is that a good idea for a price? Well, we can see right here, we spiked up in the morning, came down off of it, came back up to it, couldn't quite break through it. Magnet, right? Falls back down here to our big 60 magnet level. And even on the news, when it spikes up that day, okay, on the news when it spikes up, we see that it hits that magnet level, which is also settlement, and comes right on back down. Okay, so now we got one level, really above the market that we can use. And so let's see what happens over here. This is, again, that 60 level. It's just struggling. And we can easily define some levels below where the market is. Right now, I'm just trying to find some above where the market is that we can use, because those are obviously going to be a little more rare for us right now. Let's see, that 60. Really notice how that 60 is holding. So even happened again right here, 60, and then coming on back down. Over and over and over again. And it was basically, it was a support level. Just boom, boom, boom. Okay? And boy, it makes me wish I went back and grabbed some of those magnets below. But let's see, what about above? We're looking for magnets above. Okay, here we go. Now we got a magnet right here above the market. You got 60, and right here we got it spikes on up. It's at a 230. A lot of times on the close, notice this. We've drawn drawn a few magnets so far. 2 of those have literally been on the close of oil. What does that do? That tells you that when there's some big moves on oil itself, a lot of times you'll see those just in the last 10 minutes. That's a lot of volume to be happening. And it's in the last 10 minutes before the oil session, the oil pit session there closes. So now we got another one right around 60.75 or so. Okay? Moving on back. Trying to see what else we can find to the upside. And you can see these magnets, these are ones we did before this date, but even going back, you're seeing that there is a lot of order flow right there. Look at, it comes right down, boom, hits it, and then respects that level. And you even get the oscillation right here. This is a magnet we drew in the future. Looking backwards, we're seeing price bouncing. So this is a magnet level that has actually withstood the test of time. It goes back up, hits this, comes on back down to this magnet, goes back up to this magnet, comes on back down, falls down to the next magnet, bounces off of it. So we're seeing that these are good, not only as we draw some of these going backwards, we're actually seeing that they're being respected historically. So and that's from future magnet pricing. So that lets us know that if we did keep going back and back and back and back, we'd find stuff lining up. Now here's one that we see, and again that's confirming that same magnet. What are within a few ticks of itself. We got 60.75 right there on this bar. We have 60.81. So give or take 5-10 ticks, and you probably want to do just a small little zone around that, sort of like how I do on deviations. I'll do a little zone, but right there, that level still being protected. The 61.30 is popping above it, but without any kind of real volume. Comes on back down. Let's see here, trying to find some magnets above. Okay, this magnet, same magnet we got right there. So again, future magnets also being reflected in historical magnets, but now we got another level that we can use. I had this was a down close bar. Basically just tell that by where the up close or where the open was on the candle there, and that puts us right around 62.16 for a bigger level there on the close. But you could also go down and say, well, what was that peak? And if I see two levels that are sort of close, okay, then I could go, well, I can look forward and see how they're being respected. So looking back, I can see that this level right here, this close actually looks a little better, because look how it's bouncing off this one all day, and then when it breaks it, comes back up, and then it breaks right down. We only get a few bars where it respects that level. Here we get, hours and hours and hours all night. So that sometimes helps me pick between like the close or the low, just looking at, okay, when this magnet got established as a magnet with its high amount of volume, okay, and obviously it broke down, but what level was being respected that entire time? And so we can see that was the level being respected over and over and over again by the market, by the orders, and come down to the 62.20, bounce up, 62.20, bounce up, 62.20, bounce up, 62.20, bounce up. And then finally, when it came down with strong volume, and we actually got a second magnet over here, okay? So instead of having a magnet right there, at this level, we put the magnet right here, all right? And then see if that also lines up historically and going forward. So now we're starting to get, a little bit of a game plan on the upside. Right there, we can see that magnet just got confirmed, by the way, by another magnet bar. And we're going on back by magnet. I'm meaning bars that are exceeding our 15,000, 14,000 or so threshold. Let's see. So right here, we're within ticks of a current magnet already. We do have a little bit of a middle zone there that we could look at, and we just don't want to overdo the noise. But we got to move down here, high volume on this bar right here. Okay. So that'll just give us a lower one. And we haven't really done a whole lot of lower ones. We're more looking for the upper ones. So let's keep going up, and let's see. And look at this. Again, we drew these in the future, and you can see how it's just bouncing right off these levels. It's just uncanny how this volume works. Look at that right there. These were drawn like days in advance or weeks in advance, or in the future, not even in advance, in the future. And then looking back, seeing that those magnets are actually consistent historically. Got a big spike right here. Again, it's on the news. So I'm going to have a hard time respecting that level, okay? I see a lot of hits, though, right here against this on this high volume. And so if I'm like, what, that's like a news one. There's some things you can do if you do want to record it. And, just make it, maybe a different color. So whatever you want to. I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to make it like some sort of weird, green color. I could put it back at the normal colors. There, we'll wrap this up when you get back. Alrighty, folks, welcome to the Diagnostic Trading Hour. So I'm just scrolling back. I'm obviously getting a lot of lower magnet levels that I've been able to, plot on the chart and use. A lot of those overlapping, or we're getting newer, better levels as we go. And I'm just going to fast forward this a little bit. We're going to jump on back until, there we go. Okay. So really had to back up to, let's see, what are we on right now? Here on the 15th of 2014, okay? And to try to finally start getting some areas really above where we're at. And we can see these magnets are pretty covered already. just basically recycling themselves again and again and again. And let's see here. So we got this magnet level right here. This was a down close, just a little bit off of where we're at. It's also a round number there on that news report. Didn't even notice that when I marked it. So that obviously gives it more validity too, just going to that 63.0 number. We got another 230 close right there. And go over here, and we can see just some more high volume happening. And sometimes, I mean, it won't even be a big move, but look what happens. That high volume happens and flies all the way down to that next magnet there, okay? So we may not always see a big move on a high volume bar. And sometimes, to me, that actually gives it a little bit more, weight when that does happen. Let's see here. We're right around that 67. This is off of news, but we can see that same level being respected over and over. And I'm going to move it to the round number, put it a little bit closer to us, okay? I mean, it's just a few ticks off of that. And again, we still see that level right there being, solid support resistance. We're just oscillating around the magnet. All right, moving on back here. We got a little bit lower level right here. Not much of a difference there. And right there, pretty much closing on that. So, I mean, you're talking about here and here. All these prices all centering right around that 67 we also had on the news. And that's sort of interesting. You watch this high volume, boom, pulls back to about 66.95. You get another volume spike right there at about 66.86. And then we have it, news come out a couple days later when it's oscillating around that level, and eventually it just pops right on it. But so we got a solid level right there that we're comfortable with, and this just helps us track sort of what are going to be the staging grounds, what are going to be the levels that we're going to be looking for as the market continues to move up on oil, going into the summertime and everything else, and everything we got going on, the oil inventory is going down. What are those next stages? What are those important levels? And that's really going to be defined more than anything by volume. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking at. So now let's just take this picture. I've charted it up to 70 something dollars, and we can go over here, and we'll move this down, and this will allow us to see sort of what the next stages are, and where we may see some of those big moves and big runs. So we can see, like right here, the next level, 61.29, 61.68, 62.14, 63, 63.36. This becomes a big level because right here, this is where we're looking for probably like a $2 move day, okay, up to 65.50. So when we break this 63.50 with volume, we're looking to fly on up to 65.45. So that lets us really see a big move. And we got some other big ones on the way up. So we got some big moves coming. Being aware of those magnets and where the market has been is one of the most powerful things to learn, period, in trading. So hopefully you'll, watch this a couple times and pick it up. All right, y'all have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow right here on the Diagnostic Trading Hour.